Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox, along with my co-host, Clem. We've got another free swim episode today. We don't have one topic we're focusing in on. We just have a bunch of nerd news to break down, most of which I was just saying to you before we went on, Clem, is actually DC related this week, which, it's not every week that we're talking mostly DC stuff, but I guess it's just the season. How we doing?
I think we know right, Bob.
Actually, I don't know if I have anything Superman. I don't think there's anything Superman on my list.
Because he's just in the mix. He's just in the mix. And when the big dog's in the mix, then everyone else. It's kind of like when Portnoy shows up at the office and it's like things just start popping off. You don't explain it. He's our Superman. And I think old Clark Kent from the Quiet Plains of Nebraska. I'm going to live on that. I'm going to die on that corner. I don't care. He's from Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. In the basement, he's from Nebraska. And that'll be an inside joke that will get corrected on until the end of time. It's kind of like Barstool into Bolivian. You write that in the headline and people are like, did you mean to say Oblivion? And you're like, no, Mike Tyson, whatever. I'm going to apologize, by the way, for my voice. And if I sniffle during the pod, I think I got COVID again, which some people are saying is the pup punk flu because I was on tour this past weekend. And it's probably from being on tour.
Grow up, Bob. COVID 24. Are we fucking serious right now? I mean, that's
I can't stop getting the vid. It's crazy.
You gotta start.
The vid loves me.
Keep Lady Fox away from you too. Keep Lady Fox.
She's on a trip, which is perfect.
Good
I'm
work.
Here alone. I'm quarantined. Yeah.
Good work by you, keeping her away. That's a good fiance. I can't believe you're a fiance, dude. What a fucking world we live in.
Yeah, she's on a bachelorette party for her friend. But happy birthday, Lady Fox, as well. It was her birthday yesterday.
Is this happy birthday, Lady Fox? Is this a party crew? Are we doing a Nashville trip or something?
Miami.
Oh boy. All right. Well, breaking news in the basement. I don't want to listen. I hope it's not the case. Lady Fox might be getting COVID. You might be coming back with a case of COVID herself.
Yeah, it might be double dose. I was in DC and Philly for Pup Punk. Two places where we didn't really know what to expect for either city. Because I said on the last show, I said they were the slowest to sell. And we didn't know if people were going to show up. Oh my God, Clem, they were the craziest two shows of the tour. The people showed up, showed out, wall to wall packed. I had friends from bands coming. I had cool idols coming. Can you put me on the guest list last minute? It was crazy. Both shows. In Philly, we had my mom and Frankie's mom on stage during Stacy's mom. Roan's changing the lyrics to Frankie's mom has got it going on. Robbie's mom has got it going on. My mom's wearing a shirt with me and my brother on it. It says my pups because pup. Oh my God, this is the most little thing. Pun. PFT and Roan's moms came in DC. It was like the tour of moms. But it was great. I finally met our guy Nathan Hurst in Philly. That was great. Long time basement boy, one of the longest. So yeah, it was tell you what, if anyone came out in DC and Philly, you guys know those shows were crazy and they were so much fun. Thank you for coming out. And we're chomping at the bit to add more tour dates. We might have added a tour date that's in 15 days.
Never know. And then by the time Robbie, you should be good. You probably can't get COVID for another. I don't even know what the rules of COVID are anymore.
I think I'm good for a little bit. I think my account resets for a couple months, or at least that's what we knew a couple months ago, I think.
Shout out, we got the official artist of the basement. I love that we have an official artist. It feels like that's a good thing at Barstool to have. Yeah, cartoonist. I know Trig is the one for part of my take, I'd say. And we have Nathan Hurst. Feels good to have that.
And he's working on the next tour poster as we speak. He was just texting me beforehand, which is going to be awesome. I'm excited for people to see it. It's inspired by a classic movie poster that you would never expect. Ooh, little tease. But yeah, we're going to do a couple Northeast dates. I think we're doing 4 or 5 more before the end of the year. So look out for that. Pup Punk coming to your city. Speaking of bands coming to your city, possibly, Clem, I got the Oasis tickets. I don't think we talked about that on the last episode. I think it was right before they were about to go for sale. It was between DC and Philly. The bus went from DC to Philly at midnight to 3 a.m. and they went for sale at 4 a.m. So I just had to stay up. It was on a mobile hotspot, trying to get them for me and Nate. We were both trying to get them for each other, which people are shocked by that me and Nate are going to Wales together. But we are on the 4th of July. Like I said last week, the least American thing you could do. Clem, my card got declined 6 times trying to buy these tickets. because I'm trying to make a purchase for like $800 at 4 in the morning in the UK while I'm in Philly on a hotspot. I tried to film myself getting the tickets. It turned the mobile hotspot off. I lost internet in the middle of like getting it. I mean, just the fact that I was 511 in the queue when Nate was like 534,000 in the queue initially, and then just got kicked off initially, like completely. It's outrageous. It's the Force. If I didn't believe in the Force before, I do now. But yeah, I'm going to be there. First Oasis show back in 15 years on the 4th of July in Cardiff, Wales. So if there's any basement boys or girls that live in Wales, specifically Cardiff, give me recommendations and possibly your couch.
Yeah, there we go. I'm so happy for you guys. Nate obviously should be on the watch out or the lookout because I think he breaks a bone or has devastating things every concert he goes to. And going to Wales on the 4th of July feels like you're like really ramping it up to another level. So watch out for the dog. You have to keep the dog on his leash, make sure he's all right. And yeah, I'm thrilled for you. I said, like, I love helping out with the tickets. I would have jumped in, but Robbie Fox is fucking touched by, God knew how much you needed this. And let's be honest, you met Mark Hamill, you fucking met Oasis, right? You met one of the Gallaghers at least. You've had, Conor McGregor. It's like your best friend for a few fucking years there. So you really have hit it. So one more W for our guy Bob in the basement.
Crazy. So before we get into some of the nerd news, I do want to announce something that we teased on a previous episode. We talked about this idea of doing a comic book club with Jose Youngs, one of our favorite guests. I would say also one of the basement's favorite guests. I assume Clem is going to get a comic now. We are going to be kicking off the comic book club this month because I'm going to be going and doing Surviving Barstool in Chicago. I'll be there for a full week and won't be able to record my mom's basement. So we're going to put one in the bank. And it's going to be the first comic book club with Jose. It'll be on September 26th. The episode will drop. So you have from now until then to go out and buy Secret Wars. The one Clem is holding right there, the very first Secret Wars. Now make sure you're getting the one with that cover. It's written by Jim Shooter, 1984 to 85. That is the one we're going to be breaking down. If this goes well, we can break down the other Secret Wars, Secret Wars 2 by Jim Shooter. All of that stuff could follow. But yeah, September 26th will be the day that episode comes out. So you could go on Amazon, you could go to your local comic store, get Secret Wars. It probably will be at your local comic store. It's one of the most famous comics ever written. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm really excited to kind of do a little book club thing.
Yeah, so this was it says I got the Secret Wars. It's like the saga. So you're not just getting like a comic book because there's a bunch
12
of
issues. Yeah,
it's 12 issues in this one through Amazon. If you Google Secret or search Secret Wars, because again, like Bob said, make sure you're getting the right one. This one was $20. It's on sale. 35 was so. I honestly, dude, I haven't read a comic book in. I mean, we're talking like 30 years right now. So it's going to be an adjustment to me getting back in and, reintroducing myself to these characters. But I'm stoked. And I'll tell you, this is one of the biggest, best reactions we've gotten to just an idea. Everyone's like, I'm in, I want to do that. So I think it could be a lot of fun. Now, I was getting the comic book. Is Jose coming on for this? Are we getting the Jose man? Okay.
I think we need him because especially if we're going back, Secret Wars wasn't just wasn't like they were like, we have an idea for a story, we're going to publish Secret Wars. This was part of the Marvel comic storyline that had stuff before it, had stuff after it. He's going to help contextualize everything for us, I think. And especially we're reading stuff from the 80s. It's just like, it's a different world. He's going to need to be like, okay, this was big because of this. And this is the first time they did that. He's going to help us out a lot.
I mean, we have the Spidey symbiote, black suit. Like that is something.
The first appearance.
I don't think I ever saw this when I was reading comic books because it was obviously years before. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. You have to get the temperature of the world, and I'm sure Jose will do that. And he'll do the deep breathing
when he gets intense.
Arcs.
That's the best. That's the sign of like a great comic. When Jose gives it the deep breaths, it's like 5 stars from Roger Ebert. I actually texted him while I was in DC. Me and Frankie and Nick Hamilton started scooting around. They have the electric scooters in DC. So we're zipping around DC on the scooters. We went to a couple of museums. And in the Museum of Natural History DC, which is not as good as the New York one. I don't mean to be like a New York homer in that way. I was just almost surprised. They had one comic book on display, actually. So I took a picture and sent it to him. It was V for Vendetta.
Ooh,
which I wouldn't have expected that to be the one.
I was gonna guess Superman. I thought Superman was there.
Yeah,
I thought that was like
the
the
All-American,
number one.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, V for Vendetta, which is a great comic. Alan Moore, like, shout out them for picking like an artsy one like that. It's like a real ball knowers know or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right, so we got some DC news, as I mentioned. Joker 2 reviews are out. I wanted to start with this because it debuted at, I believe, the Venice Film Festival. It debuted at some film festival. I think it got like an 11-minute standing ovation. So that's somewhere between horrible and mediocre and great. And I don't know how to judge standing ovations at this point. But it's a very mixed bag in reviews. I feel like the first movie was generally pretty much all positive. I remember it having like an amazing Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. This one is very back and forth. Some of the reviews have mentioned the musical aspect drags it down. The musical aspect, also a weird thing that Lady Gaga is now still trying to like toe the company line about. They're trying to lie about this being a musical. She said it's not a musical. The music is a way to give the characters a way to express themselves because the dialogue wasn't enough. Which everyone's like, yes, that's a musical. Again, we talked about this last week. Todd Phillips was saying the same shit. I don't want to sound like a broken record here. But some reviews also mentioned there's some surprising cameos in the movie. I don't know if that means, oh my God, Brad Pitt made an appearance as a congressman and it's a surprising actor, or if it's, you know, the first half of the movie apparently takes place in Arkham Asylum. Or are we going to see the whole Rogues Gallery? That sort of interests me. We got our first look at Harvey Dent, kind of looks like a twink, and the movie's out October 4th. I am oddly, I don't want to say I'm rooting against it. I would never root against a comic book movie. I don't even root against movies generally. I kind of rooted against the recent Crow remake, but that was an anomaly.
Avatar too. We read it. We blatantly
a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I went and saw it in theaters, but never again. They'll never get me with another one again. This is the closest I've come to almost rooting against a movie, and I hate that I'm saying that. I hate being that guy. I have Batman tattooed on my arm. This is a fucking Batman movie. I know it's not Batman, but it's in his universe. It's just the way that the creators and the people behind this movie have talked about it has turned me off so hard, and I'm not even excited for it.
You know what I'm realizing?
What?
Last week I said there's like they pissed off. There's 3 groups of people they could piss off with this, and it was the Batman people, the hornies, and the musical fans.
And what are you saying?
I'm not saying you're a horny. I know you're a Batman guy. And Bob, let's be honest, you're a musical guy. You are. Your number one dream dinner was Lin-Manuel. Right?
Yeah. It was at a time, and you know, we all have regrets that I would take that one back, maybe. But I do love Hamilton. It's a great musical.
You want me to call you a closeted music guy, or you want to
no.
like a low key musical guy?
I don't know if I could call myself a musical guy because I love Hamilton, and I love like there's a cup. Rent is great. I wouldn't say I love it, but it's great. But I like Disney musicals though, I guess. So yeah, all right, fair enough. I like Moana and shit.
How many times have you seen the musical Moulin Rouge?
Twice on Broadway, but I'm bringing the Lady Fox.
I know Lady Fox likes it. That's why
she's gone 3 times. Yeah.
She's gone 3 times. Oh my God. I think you're just upset that they're kind of just dragging musicals through the mud here. This is the problem with DC. Get your messaging straight. You know, these people from Marvel, when they have to promote a movie, they have been like taken to a Clockwork Orange room, eyes open, and pumped with the same message. And then when you do have a moment like when Mark Ruffalo said whatever he said that was like a spoiler or was not
like everyone dies at the end of Infinity War. Oh, I mean, like half of us die. And Don Cheadle was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Like that's the kind of reaction you get if that happened with Marvel, where Lady Gaga's like hemming and hawing. There would be like a "What the fuck, Lady Gaga? Settle down here." So I think there just needs to be. It's just Wild West shit. It's like whoever runs Barstool runs DC at this point. When we hear about something, it's like, hey, did you hear about blah, blah? It's like, no. Oh, that's cool. I guess we're doing that now. So I think this is kind of just another fucking long line of DC. And I will not watch this movie. It's nothing personal. I didn't watch the first Joker. I think that was around the time the kids were born, and I was not really seeing movies. I watched a little bit of it. It just isn't. It's not what I want to watch. I don't want to watch it. I think I hate Joaquin Phoenix. I think I actually hate him at this point. I'm just acknowledging I do not like Joaquin.
Also, I think your timeline might be messed up. The first Joker was not that long ago. First Joker was, I think, after Endgame.
Really?
Yeah.
2019.
2019.
AJ 2018. So
Oh.
I was in. So AJ, like Newborn is the first year. AJ, anyone who listen to Podfathers, first 3 years of my life was a nightmare with that kid. I have to say though, I've been broing out with him like the last few months. I've never had. I understand what the love of a son is now. I love this kid. So we just sit on the couch and we just laugh. And he'll like play Fortnite. And he just like kills a guy. He's like, ha ha, got that guy. He'll go sucker, and we just laugh. He's like, we watch some Mets together, and we're kind of like make fun of when things happen to a character, they fall. So like we are broing out hardcore right now. Me and AJ are like a fucking Danny McBride bro movie at this point.
It only took a couple years, but now you understand what it's like to love a son.
6.5, Bob. It took a very long time. I said he didn't have his pinstripes for years. He got his pinstripes, and to be honest with you, like the way Sienna's like a little preteen, he's like number one in the power rankings by far. He's locked up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So in my defense, I was kind of foggy during
Fair
Joker.
Enough. And you're not going to go see the most like depressing rated R movie of all time. You're going to see like the stuff you need to know for the MCU, and pretty much that's it.
And I like give me the reason for the memes. Like, oh, why is he on the stairs dancing? Boom. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
And this one, they don't seem to be selling me on it. They don't even have like a fucking.
I know. I'm so curious to know how it's going to do. The first one did over $1 billion, and we talked about it last week. It was like the #1 rated R movie ever. Like, I don't think this one's even going to come close, but it's got Lady Gaga in it, and it's got hype. So, like, I think it'll do well. I'm sure.
Over 650.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go under. The reviews being bad, I think are going to hurt it a lot. And I just don't think that we're in like the superhero world anymore. Like in 2018 or 2019, Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
True. Like
that. And it was like, whoa, what the fuck? And Aquaman, I think, made $1 billion around the same time. It was just like superhero movies were fucking hitting. I don't think we're in that time anymore. Post-COVID too.
Deadpool might have made like $2 billion if it had come out like, before COVID, and the way that had the hype and all the other shit that went into it. So yeah, I think under as well, 650.
More DC news. This one was really interesting to me. Josh Brolin has allegedly been offered the role of Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, in the Lanterns TV series. This is the Lanterns TV series that is written, at least in part, by Damon Lindelof, and I think the head writer or one of the head writers of Ozark. And it was said to have True Detective vibes. Now, they said if Brolin turns this down, Matthew McConaughey and Ewan McGregor were on the list to get offered the part. If they're saying True Detective vibes and straight up being like, hey, why don't we just make Matthew McConaughey the Green Lantern? It almost feels like what DC's doing with The Penguin and The Sopranos. They're like, what if we just take the greatest shows of all time and make them superhero DC related? I don't know. I don't hate that idea. But with Brolin, do you think 3 comic book characters, mainstream comic book characters, would be too much in Cable, Thanos, and then obviously Green Lantern?
Yeah, I forget that he was Cable until I rewatched them. I was like, oh, that's right. Thanos is kind of his dude. At least he has like the CGI on his side, and it's TV. Yeah. If it pulls it off, he's pulling it off basically the only way he could. He's definitely done it in a tricky sense.
Thanos is like full CG, Cable's like half CG, and then you go like normal with Hal Jordan.
Yeah. And this is the thing, man. I swoon when I hear Lindelof. I don't even know all the shit he did. I just know a couple of things. I almost said before we went live, I was going to say, I just wish we could do like a rewatch of the Watchmen show because I loved it. I know that randomly had like some sort of angry mob against it. I don't even know what the reason. I can only imagine the reasons. I thought it was fucking one of the best shows of all time. And then I go back and watch the movie again and made the movie better. So
I don't know if it's on HBO right now. It was one of those shows that they like took off, and then people were like, well, there's not like a physical copy of it. So how do we watch this?
Yeah,
maybe they finally did put out a physical copy, but that is one of those things when they took it off. I was like, oh, fuck, I should have rewatched that before they took it off. It's one of those things you don't think of until it's gone. I just restarted Lost this week, though, because Lady Fox, I think, saw a couple episodes when it was like initially on, and she doesn't remember any of it. And I was like, oh my God, it's on Netflix now. Let's restart Lost. The pilot of Lost is like a 2-parter. It's like 2 hours. JJ directed both. Oh my God. The pilot of Lost is like an amazing movie. You could watch that, and it sets up the mystery of the show so well. And I know that show suffered from setting up a lot of mysteries they didn't fully capitalize on, but I'm excited to go back down the rabbit hole.
I never got into Lost. When I was about to, is when people started turning on it and being like, they don't know what they're doing. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do it. And I feel like if I watched it, I would just be sad that like what it could have been. I feel like I
A lot of
dodged
it's good though. A lot of it's good. And what's crazy looking at Lost, they had like 20 episode seasons. Every single season was like 20 episodes, and they were cranking them out like by the year. Now we hear like Ahsoka, it's going to be like 3 years in between
Yeah.
seasons. It's crazy that I guess nowadays CGI or whatever, but I don't know. Lost had a ton of that. Lost had crazy production value. It's weird.
We say this all the time for different properties, but I say like, can we get a Topher Grace? This is the good shit from the Lost seasons and make
The
it
edit.
coherent. Like by the end, okay, tell people like me who have never seen it or people that are listening, by the end, is it coherent enough that it makes sense and you feel satisfied?
I did when I watched it, and I think a big part of it was marathoning it. Like we talked about it with the Sopranos coma episodes. We were texting about them. Marathoning the show makes it a lot more like tolerable. So if you're watching it week to week, if you were watching it week to week, I could understand why you weren't satisfied, because you probably like built up a lot of different ideas in your head that were better than what the show delivered maybe. But if you're just going to binge it, 15, 20 years after it came out now, I think it's pretty satisfying.
Okay, that's fair. And yeah, like because again, like you also don't have like the year, 2 year, 3 year gap between stuff to then you're dying for it,
And
then
also,
you're just getting
hand up, the last time I watched it, I was a freshman in high school, and I'm rewatching it now. So freshman in high school me was very satisfied when I was 14. 26-year-old me, we'll see.
Fanboy Fox as a teenager, I can only imagine. This guy loved the fucking prequels and the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. I was real fanboying out for Lost. I had a Lost birthday cake the year after I watched it. It was
See, this is the kind of stuff we have to dig deep on here. This is the kind of stuff you have to preface your argument with. People at home are like, all right, honey, we're watching Lost tonight. Robbie, and then they remember Fanboy Fox, COVID Fox right now, but Fanboy Fox with a fucking birthday cake. Jesus. Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, answer this one to me, going back to a previous conversation. Have you ever had a cake that was based on a musical?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't think I ever.
I thought I caught you there. I thought I was going to catch you in like a diehard musical.
I had a lot of cool cakes because Mama Fox and my sister are both so good at making cakes, and like really good ones. My sister made me a Breaking Bad cake. I think I've mentioned on the show before. She did like the rock candy, blue rock candy is the meth all over it. She did obviously the one I just mentioned was amazing. The Lost one, she was like the Dharma logo, the octagon thing. My mom once got me a cake from ShopRite the year The Dark Knight came out. It was like me and my brother, our birthdays are 10 days apart. So it was a joint birthday. And I just wanted a Joker cake. I was like, get me a picture of Heath Ledger's the Joker, like screen printed on a cake. That was like the hot thing. I wanted a cake like that. They got it. And my mom was like, that's all we want. They put flowers all around it. So it really looked like a Heath Ledger in memoriam cake for my birthday. It was so weird for the family party. We have pictures of it. It's funny. I'll try to find a picture.
It's like his funeral. You guys are
it really was.
How
a lot of years. It was right after The Dark Knight came out. So it was not even a year. It was like, so, and then it was fresh on everyone's mind because the movie had just come out. Yeah, it was a weird thing, but my mom would do a cool thing where she would go buy toys that were for the cake that we could have afterwards. So like the year that Transformers came out, I think I had a Transformers birthday. So she just bought a bunch of miniature Transformers figures to like position on the cake and make it look all cool. And then afterwards I had new shit to play with.
I mean, we learn a little extra about Mama Fox every single. It's like that, but then it's the cursing Mama Fox. There's the lady is a goddamn treat. What an absolute.
Oh, she on stage too was so funny. It wasn't like a planned thing. Let's bring our moms on stage for Stacy's mom. It was just like let's do a song about moms. And then Rowan's like, and shout out Frankie's mom and shout out Robbie's mom. They're in the building. And then Caroline just went side stage and like grabbed Frankie's mom's hand. She grabbed my mom's hand and they got dragged on stage. My mom was mortified, and I could tell like on stage in the video I sent you, it looks like she's like dancing, having a good time, laughing. She looked great. It looked like it was like the time of her life. And I was like, you did so good, Mom. But I knew the second she got off that stage, her heart was racing. She said to me, "Oh my God, Rob, my heart was racing. I couldn't handle it. I didn't know that was never again. Okay. That was so much fun. It's a memory I'll never forget, but never again." I was like, "Never again, Mom. We got our pictures. We got it." But we do have like Frankie's wife took such funny pictures of us on stage where me and my brother are like looking at each other like, "What's happening right now?" Like my mom's dancing. It was hysterical. Anyone that was there, also a bunch of the people in the crowd sent me pictures and videos. Like I appreciated they did it privately. They like DM'd me like, "If you want this picture of you and your mom, like I feel weird tweeting it." I thought it was very nice that everyone was like, "This is a sweet moment."
That I was hoping we get the Mama Fox voice too, so you delivered that. Did she say the word mortified? Because I could almost hear
Yeah.
mortified.
Mortified. Yeah,
Yes,
it's such an Italian, like over the top. Like you pick the word that sounds the absolute worst. So funny though. It was a great time. Great time. Speaking of great times, you can go out and get yourself a great time on Game Time. How about that for a little transition?
Great time on Game Time. That is a tagline. You guys got that for free or whatever.
For free Game Time. Yeah, basically free Game Time. You know, we love getting out to live events, whether it's a concert, a football game. Football's coming up soon. Comedy show. We always use Game Time. It's the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. And we love it even more now because they've got their brand new Game Time Picks feature where they're making it even easier to get to a game. So if I pull up Game Time's website right now, you look at Game Time Picks, you can get into the U.S. Open later tonight for $184. How about the Giants opener? Minnesota Vikings at Giants, $97. Amazing deals available all over Game Time. Obviously not just for games, for concerts too, but it's a big football week. Obviously everyone's using it for football this week.
Very excited about that. I'm definitely hitting the Eagles game, and I'll be getting my tickets through Game Time. Usually we have our tickets, but this time we don't. So we're just gonna hit up Game Time. So if I could get to that week 1 game, it's gonna be beautiful. This weather's been incredible, by the way.
Oh, it's been great.
Picture perfect. So let's get we have our football teams. The Commanders are back in your life as well.
Jaden, yep.
Yeah.
Big year for Jaden. People were wearing his jersey in DC, and everyone was like cheering for him. I was also cheering. I was thinking on stage, this crowd probably don't realize that I'm a Commanders fan, and they're probably like, "Why is he cheering so much for the Commanders?" I'm not like, you know, the most public, like diehard Commanders fan. So I was laughing to myself about that.
I'm thinking of you as the meme with the guy in the corner. They probably don't even know I'm a Commanders fan. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. But yes, Game Time is truly the best in the biz. It's the easiest ticketing app to use. I mean, if I were using Game Time, I would never have issues. I would never have stress. It's just the best. It's again, the best in the biz, the easiest to use. What are you waiting for? Go to Game Time now. Get those Giants picks. You could pull up the GT picks setting at the top of the screen, or you could just browse the best local Game Time picks near you on their homepage. Download the app. Use code MMB to easily score great deals with new Game Time picks. And what is it? It's Game Time. Thank you, Game Time. So this is a story that I don't know how much I believe, to be quite honest with you.
Whoa.
I read that the Penguin showrunner and Matt Reeves have come out and been like, yeah, there's no Batman cameo in the Penguin. Robert Pattinson's Batman will not appear because the Batman movies are going to be fully from his perspective, and then the show is going to be street level. Now, I say I don't know how much I believe it because I believe I saw that Robert Pattinson was spotted on set at some point. Sure, he could have just been visiting set, visiting friends. But are they saying Robert Pattinson's Batman will not appear because Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne will appear? And in these movies, they are very separate, you know? I don't know. I don't want to build up hopes for other people and then have people be like, you know, by the finale when he doesn't appear, like, what the fuck? And it's like, well, they did tell us. But I don't know. I'm saying I think Bruce Wayne might appear still.
This is what I'm saying, Bob. We put as the header to this episode, Bruce Wayne appearance confirmed in the Penguin. This is how you fucking get some traction. You keep the lights on in the basement. You got to have your takes. You got to have your, trust your gut. Just trust your gut here. You sniffed it out. That's good work by you. Can't even smell. He has COVID, and he's still, you're the girl second greatest detective behind said Bruce Wayne, or I guess so. Batman is a great detective. Bruce Wayne technically is not. He's the bombastic billionaire, playboy billionaire. So good work by you sniffing that one out, and let's just run with it. Put it on all socials. Bruce Wayne confirmed for the Penguin.
And the new Penguin trailer features a big tagline, "There's a storm coming." And I was like, ooh, that's like an interesting thing for them to use.
Bringing that back.
Yeah, from Dark Knight Rises. "There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You better batten down the hatches." So I was like, oh, maybe there's going to be a little reference to, we have a Catwoman in this universe. Are they going to have Catwoman in the fold here? Are we going to see a Zoe Kravitz cameo? I don't want to build up my hopes too much for any cameos in this universe, but
God damn it, Bob. Are you trying to fucking put us out of here? Catwoman confirmed as well. Bruce Wayne and Catwoman confirmed in the Penguin. Put it as the YouTube title. Make a fucking funky graphic with it. TikTok it. Whatever you have to do. And then funnel them back to the podcast. They can just see all the hijinks that goes on here. They're like, oh, this guy is COVID. He's fucking...
I'm trying, guys. I'm fucking trying.
But come on. You have it, Bob. You have How to Grow a Podcast right here. You just... throw shit out the wall. We're gonna get arrested for if he doesn't show up.
No, but James Gunn might yell at us.
James Gunn might. I don't.
Whoa. We don't want that,
No, I think
even worse than getting arrested.
You have to have a certain. Like level of take or like point of view for I think James Gunn to actually yell at you. I think we're good there. He did call bullshit on us for the Thor.
He did. And that was just like, it even felt like our dad was like, no. And we were like, oh, sorry.
But I'm still calling bullshit on him. You don't throw Thor on the fucking Milano or whatever that ship was at that point and then be like, oh, he wasn't going to be in Guardian 3. That was bullshit, James. I know. I can't wait for Superman. I think you're going to do great with DC. When is the first DC property that was all Gunn? Is it Superman?
That is a great transition to the next topic that they announced that the first DC property under Gunn, Creature Commandos, the animated series, will debut on December 5th. After Creature Commandos, I do believe it will be Superman, although Peacemaker Season 2 is filming right now.
Okay, cool. Creature Commandos, I think we were kind of in on it, right? When we talked about it when it first...
Yeah, we don't know much about it, but it sounds cool and it sounds weird. And the fact that it's an animated show that... they're already telling us the voices of these characters will play these characters in live action is kind of cool. We don't have that.
I like that.
More stuff in the Batman universe, though, specifically the Matt Reeves Batman universe. He has kind of clarified that they're never going to go, quote unquote, fantastical in their universe. So that'll be reserved for the DCU, which I actually think is like a cool distinction where you could split the rogues gallery in half basically for Batman. And be like, the DCU could use Clayface, a fucking big mound of clay, and do an amazing thing like that. Or, one of the Batman villains that's absolutely ridiculous and out there. While Matt Reeves says, what was important to me was to find a way to take these pop icons, these mythical characters that everybody knows, and translate it so that Gotham feels like a place in our world. I think this is a good idea, and I kind of think that it feels like he's tempering expectations for villains in a fair way, where he's like, just so you know, we're not doing the crazy shit. Like, you're never going to see in our universe someone flying just because they have the power to fly. It's going to be a lot of stuff like the Batman, where the Riddler is an incel.
Grounded. I'm fine with that. If you pull it off uniquely, it makes me love it even more because it gives the character depth and a side of him I might not have seen in other, instances of them. So it's cool with me.
Batman's like the best hero to do it with, too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I was going to say the second movie is going to be the best. Is he signed on for a trilogy? Is it definitely a trilogy?
I don't know, actually. But he has said that the second movie, I love a quote he has about it, where he still wants to keep the focus on Batman. He says a lot of the times you do a Batman introduction movie, and then the sequels kind of become the villains. And that's true. Even about my favorite Batman movies, my favorite movie of all time, the Joker takes the shine and off Batman in a lot of that movie, where the Batman having his narration going the whole time, it felt the most of all the Batman movies. Like we were with him, we were in his head for that. So I thought that was cool. He also said it's going to dig into the epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places he could not even anticipate in the first one. And that quote made it move.
This is gonna, like you said, like Joker or Penguin with Sopranos. Get stuff that is like real life, and we're ripping it and putting it into a comic book world when done correctly, as we've talked about on this pod a bunch, is fucking great. So I'm hoping they can do it here. I'm really hoping they can do it.
I also think one of our questions, we'll do a little bit of fan questions, mailbag at the end of the listener questions. I feel weird saying fan. Listener questions at the end of the episode. But one of them said, what villains do you think they'll go with? Reading that, I think they're going to go with a newer storyline, kind of newer. It was like New 52, which was 10 years ago at this point, probably. The Court of Owls, which is this high up clan underneath Gotham that is super corrupt, and their ties go all the way up to the top. I think they'll do the Court of Owls with a little side of Hush, which is one of my favorite Batman stories ever. My tattoo is actually from that book, Hush, where they kind of teased like a Hush-esque connection. Hush is about like I don't want to spoil too much because I think people should go out and read the comic, but it's kind of about like someone that knows a little bit about Bruce, and they teased someone knowing a lot about the Wayne family and the Batman, and his name was Elliot, and it was just like there's some connections where I think they could do Court of Owls and Hush. So if you're interested in what sounds like a corruption story, go get those two books. Neither of them will be too expensive, probably the same as Secret Wars, like $20.
Okay, that's fair.
Also, for Batman Day this year, they're putting Batman 89, Batman Forever, and Mask of the Phantasm back in theaters one day only, September 21st, and they'll have the Bat Signal popcorn bucket.
Oh, I had to
popcorn buckets are all the rage now.
I had to bring the Wolverine popcorn bucket when I took the kids to see it. And
yeah,
very weird. I did not enjoy that one bit.
They're doing a lot of re-releases this fall too. I feel like in the next month, the Batman Day re-release is happening. In October, they're doing the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future 2.
Oh, nice.
And I think this month they're doing the 20th or 25th anniversary of The Matrix.
Oh, wow, Matrix.
That one I would kind of be interested in seeing in theaters because I was too young to see it in theaters when it came out, but I love those movies so much. And on the big screen, that's awesome.
Also, I want to, if I banged on the table at all during this podcast, I do apologize. I've been very cognizant of not doing that. But Bob got me so angry by not using either of those teases and just being like, I don't know if it's going to happen. And that's not how we do it here. We give our takes and we fucking lie through teases to try to get more listeners. So I'm sorry if I did it. I'm just getting ahead of the story now because I don't even know what I do when I get filled with anger. Like, I use a dad voice. I was like, God damn it.
And one more Batman story. This one's kind of wild. Michael Keaton reveals his name is Michael Keaton Douglas, and he will soon try to be credited by that name. He wants to be Michael Keaton Douglas in his credits, but he couldn't be Michael Douglas, obviously, when he became an actor because with the Screen Actors rules and stuff, you can't have two people under the same name. So that's like Michael B. Jordan, I think, had to add B in there for whatever. Michael J. Fox, J isn't even his middle initial. He just thought J sounded the best on a screenplay, on a credits. So that, it's not even really news, but it's just something where I went, I didn't know that. Michael Douglas.
Yeah, that fucked me up pretty good when I saw that. He got lucky that he has such a good. So is that Keaton's a middle name?
I guess so. It's a great middle name. Michael Keaton's an amazing name.
No, it's a great last name, is what it is. And the fact that he's able to, use it as his actual Michael John Douglas is his name. So where did the Keaton come from?
Did he get Keaton?
Keaton.
Did he just think it sounded good?
I'm here trying to look at it, but they're calling him Keaton his entire fucking Wikipedia page. So
I'm pretty sure Olivia Wilde changed her name to Wilde because her last name was Cockburn, and she just wanted one that sounded cool. Pretty sure.
And she threw the E at the end. I have to say, when I didn't know that's not her name.
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde, when I saw Olivia Wilde and she had the E, I'm like, oh, I love that girl. That's a bad girl right there too. She kind of like the bad girl persona going on. So hats off to her. Hats off to Michael Keaton. Hats off to Jeff D. Lowe. I mean, he's made the fucking middle initial part of his identity too, right?
And then I've got some super random news. Again, it was all like DC heavy this week. One of the things. Go ahead.
We had the House of the Dragon thing too. Did you see that?
Oh, you know what, dude? I skipped over that. I literally had it in my news. The House of the Dragon drama going on right now is unreal. It's like very catty drama among the showrunners and George R.R. Martin himself. George R.R. Martin is not happy with the direction that they are going to be taking the show. They're omitting some things that he's very upset about. I didn't read his full blog post because you did, and you texted the group chat that unfortunately you got a big spoiler, huh?
I got fucking Dracarys by a massive spoiler. And there's a spoiler out there that people say is like Joffrey says it in one of the Thrones episodes.
Yeah, he says like the end of the series or something.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I think I know that spoiler. And I was like, that sucks. I might not have heard it right. And then I read George R. Martin said he was going to do this blog post, and I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be great. He's going to roast the writers. We obviously were very upset with the way House of the Dragon 2 kind of ended without a real thud. And then I read it, and he's like, so basically the spoiler free, I'm not going to obviously spoil it on the pod. Basically, he says in the post, like the Blood and Cheese episode and storyline, they had only 2 kids instead of 3. And the third kid is very important, not now, but in the future. And it's kind of the butterfly effect. You take the second kid out, now you can live with it. But the way the story progresses, now I'm sure that HBO always planned to do it. The showrunners planned to do the show their own way. But George seems very upset about the way that this had all gone. And what I had read from the book readers, in the chat room, shout out the small council, was it's not a huge deal, but it could be something down the road. Well, George clearly does not agree with that. And then he just goes into this whole thing. And when I read it, there was no spoiler warning. Apparently, I think he added a spoiler warning later, and then he wiped it off the internet, straight up deleted it. So
that's so annoying.
Now, did he delete it on his own? Did he feel bad for people like me that got spoiled? Did he have like HBO's like, dude, we're paying you $1 bazillion, you got to delete it? I don't know, but it's like, this fucking guy, just write the books. Stop writing
the
blog
book,
posts.
dude. Exactly. He would rather write anything but that book.
Yeah, it's when you're doing your homework, you're like, I don't want to do it, and you start like cleaning your room. It's like, dude, you never clean your room. Sienna does that all the time when we're trying to get her to bed. She'll do anything not to do it. And it's like, God, listen, the show suck, they suck. Everyone will say, dude, his books were banging though, and they were so much better than the show. Don't worry about it. You cashed in. When you cash in, you fucking lose like that artistic like control, 100% control over it. So I've just had enough of this guy, and now he's fucking spoiling shit for me, Bob.
That's brutal. That's truly brutal.
And I have takes. And I don't want my takes to get impacted by knowing what might happen. I guess they can change it up in the show, so I'm not sure it's going to happen. But I had takes that I was already squatting on that I feel like now I'm like a fucking big fat phony if I don't fucking go with them. Because
you just got to pray for like dad brain to hit you before the next season. You got to pray you forget. Men in Black style.
That might happen, Bob. I'm telling you, man. I'll see a blog and be like, oh, who blogged that? And I blogged it like 3 months ago. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know watching The Sopranos, at some point along the way, I had read like spoilers about The Sopranos that I totally forgot.
Yeah.
And like, even when it happened, like, I'm sure I read something, but like, I forget stuff all the time like that. So I feel like maybe if they delay the next season, if there's another writer strike or something, you'll be fine. You'll forget everything.
Yeah. 2 years down the road, they'll probably change all the good shit anyway. They'll have the girls smooching, which will piss off KFC, and we'll be everywhere.
Random thing that came up today. We got a documentary for this Vince McMahon trailer on Netflix. So if we've got any wrestling fans in the basement or former wrestling fans, because it's going to capture his whole life and career. This was something that I'm so fascinated by, because when they signed on to do it, it was just going to be about the life and career of Vince McMahon. You know, how he took the company from his dad, turned it into a multi-billion empire, weaved his family in through all of it, became an on-screen character. It was just going to be all about Vince. And I'm sure they were going to go into some of the darker sides and the Bret Harts of the world who hate Vince, and the double side, the polarizing character that is Vince. In the midst of it, this crazy lawsuit happens where he has to step down from the WWE. He's accused of horrific like abuse, sex trafficking, the worst stuff in the world. So they had to take the documentary and pivot and make it the rise and fall of Vince McMahon. In my blog, I said it will almost give, I think, the Jinx vibes. Not that they're going to have Vince on a hot wire confessing to everything while he's like taking a piss, but the fact that if what they're saying is true about Vince, this guy is like a monster behind closed doors. And they're this close to him, talking to him about, his whole career and stuff. And it's just that he could put on that face for the cameras. And there's an aspect of it that I think is going to be like a chilling documentary. But wrestling documentaries are also the best documentaries in the world, in my opinion. Like, sometimes the wrestling documentaries are better than the content and the shows themselves. I think this is going to be amazing.
I have extremely high hopes for this. My hopes were relatively high before all that shit went down. But if they are going to go completely unfiltered and not have to worry about getting the approval from him, which I don't know, at some point they're like, dude, we got to just do our own thing. You've agreed to it. Kind of like George R. Martin. It's like, you gave us over the creative rights and we're just going to go to town on you. Because any documentary about Vince McMahon that doesn't go into how fucking awful he is, according to countless people, would feel phony, right? It would feel completely fake. So that's the only, I don't want to walk away from that documentary being like, that felt like I don't think it'll be a puff piece, but I don't want it to even feel like kind of a puff piece. That needs to be, the guy did so much good for wrestling and did so much bad for the people involved in wrestling. And I think that needs to be said. I think if you did one about, who was my Hulk Hogan as a kid was my hero. Guy seems like kind of a fucking scumbag in real life, right? He's done some pretty.
He hasn't had the best quotes. Yeah,
exactly. And Vince is like that times a million because he's literally impacted so many lives. And I'm sure there's people. I'm sure fucking The Rock loves Vince, right? And Austin. Like,
John Cena, and you know, he's got the biggest defenders in the world. The people that they would take a bullet for each other. I'm sure The Undertaker. But we're gonna see both sides of that, and it's like, I think that's gonna make for such a compelling, captivating documentary. I'm hoping it's like a 10-parter. I want this thing to be like long because there's so much you could die. The steroid scandal in the 90s, the Montreal screw job itself. Like, I know there's not much to be said about that. That hasn't been said already, but there's so much with the story of Vince McMahon that you could dive into that. I can't wait for this and the Sopranos doc that comes out in like 2 days. We're going to be eating with documentaries this month, and the Christopher Reeve documentary.
I am a diehard doc guy. I was going through like on Netflix. I was looking for stuff to watch. And it's like, just what you've already watched. You've already watched. Man, I was going through some documentaries. Yep, I got the little thumbs up there.
Yeah.
Now, and this is the thing about Vince. Like, say what you want to say about him, which, granted, absolute scumbag. The dude was an absolute grinder too.
Of course.
He was announcing back in the day. He took all these. He was ruthless as a motherfucker too. I don't know, man. Again, like growing up, he was just this kind of whatever guy, this little side character. You knew the name, and then he becomes Mr. McMahon, and then it's like this whole time just this ruthless vato behind the scenes. So I can't wait for it. What is the Sopranos doc on Netflix, or is that Max? Or
that's Max. Yeah,
Max. Okay,
David Chase and the Sopranos, I think it's called, or David Chase and the Wise Guy, something like that. But that looks so good. And the first review I read, I think it was from Richard Roper from the Chicago Times. He's like the super famous Chicago guy. He said like it'll make you want to rewatch the series all over again. And I was immediately like, fuck, I could have rewatched the series the second I ended it. Now I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna make me go back twice in a year.
We are 2 episodes left. We have 2 episodes left right now. So we're gonna roll right into the doc. And then
those final 2 are amazing too. The final 2 are like a movie.
I was looking at the episode descriptions, like, I know what that's about. Oh, I know. And I'm like, oh man. So I was like, we have some big events to happen still. So I can't wait for, again, my wife who has never seen it to, let's just say there was an episode relatively recently with a couple girls that were driving on the road. She was not happy with the way everything shook out there as well. So, oh man, just an absolute great show.
And then I had kind of a snacking off my mom's basement crossover news item here. It appears the Krabby Patty is going to be available at Wendy's. I think October 8th or something. They're also doing like a pineapple shake. I just wanted to bring this up to bring up a hysterical tweet I saw about it where they were like, as like a child of the 90s, I can't wait to try a Krabby Patty for the first time. At the same time, I'm conflicted because it means Krabs finally sold the recipe.
Again, this goes a little above my head because I am not a SpongeBob guy. I also have to admit, though, that is the smartest thing when any like fast food place has ever done. Because
we're gonna sell our normal burger and call it a Krabby Patty. There's nothing different about it. It just has like tomatoes, onions, and lettuce. It's a normal burger.
And you know what?
And I'm gonna buy it, of course.
If I could buy it, store it, and then put it on eBay, I could probably make like $1 billion. Like if McDonald's, when they have those adult Happy Meals, when they first came out, I would like get them and I, live the whole nostalgia. Within 3 days, they're always sold out, no matter what.
Yeah.
Now it's going to you motherfuckers, you Gen Zers and the youngins. You guys are even more crazy about this shit because I think SpongeBob has a little
thing.
more.
People getting Krabby Patties, they're sold out. People getting into fights in fast food places because they're sold out. All of it, I'm sure.
the TikTok generation made the Grimace shake like the highest selling McDonald's ever, just on like jokes alone. So I can't imagine something like SpongeBob that is like a core piece of their childhood nostalgia. Oh, I had to add this too. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this thing about the Tim Burton Denny's thing?
Oh, the guy who had a tweet, right?
Yeah, this guy Bob Mackey, who, let's see, he is co-host of the Retronauts and Talking Simpsons podcast. He wrote in July 23rd, 2009, I would like to see Tim Burton's darkly whimsical take on something less obvious, like a Denny's menu. He writes that 15 years ago. And then he wrote back on September 3rd, it took 15 years, but my dark wish came true at last. And it's a picture of a Denny's menu with full of Beetlejuice kind of like foods that they have. And it's real. It has to be real. I could not believe 15 years later they actually did that at Denny's. I was like, oh, it must have been like an IHOP or somewhere that wasn't Denny's. The fact that fucking someone actually, that tweet actually came to real life and he was able to quote retweet it. Like, there's plenty of reasons why Twitter should be destroyed off this planet. Moments like that, though, is when everything comes together. And Mrs. Clem is going opening night with my brother. The two biggest Beetlejuice fans I know are so stoked. I mean, again, shout out to Michael Keaton Douglas for bringing it back. Yeah. We have Beetlejuice back in our lives.
It's got great predictions too in terms of box office. People are big time, the people that are like, the box office is back, the movies are back. They're like, it's going for 140 opening weekend. Like, people are going crazy online, which I love it too. I love when people get excited about that shit.
I hope it beats Joker 2. That's all I'm asking. Just beat Joker 2.
That'd be great. Yeah. All right, let's dig into some of the questions we got on Twitter. I haven't pre-screened any of these, so they're going to be off the rip. Nick says, do you think we'll get an appearance from Darth Vader, Palpatine, or any other original trilogy characters in season 2 of Andor? I actually don't. I think Andor has enough characters within like the Rogue One universe you could give us to kind of like be satisfying cameos. We got K2SO in this season, which we didn't have last season. We know like Forrest Whitaker's going to come back. We could have like obviously Mon Mothma's going to be in the whole season, but yeah, I think there's enough like members of the Rogue One squad we could get as cameos where you won't have to bring in the big guns.
Do you want me to say it, Bob?
What are you going to say? Darth Jar Jar?
Wait, did that come out yet? Where's my universe with Darth Jar Jar?
Yeah,
that kind of just like
we would have known.
We would have. Yeah. Like, come on, it's gonna happen. Now let's just make up the character right now on the fly, and we promote the podcast with it. So
Mace Windu, he's back.
There we go. I was thinking like Wedge Antilles, maybe. Do we get like a Wedge? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say
Wedge.
We will get a character. Tier 1 would be Vader, Emperor, Leia, right? Tier 2 would be, what's Tier 2? What's a Tier 2 character? I'd say R2 and C-3PO are Tier 1. Tier 2, like a Lando.
Like a Tarkin?
A Tarkin, yes.
Tarkin was in Rogue One. They have the files. They could make his face appear again, probably.
I think we could get a Tier 2. I guarantee we're getting at least a Tier 3. We're getting something.
Yeah.
We're getting a little.
I think we could get like Donnie Yen. I think we could get like some of the characters that we liked in Rogue One that they didn't waste in season 1. Not that they would have wasted them, but they like saved them. Where we could see a team assemble. Because when Jyn Erso, I think I've mentioned, when Jyn Erso meets Cassian, his team is pretty much assembled. Like, he's got his guys already. Let's see him assemble that team.
Okay. Now do you think this would be too much? Because again, we are people that say like, don't give us the same old beats and don't just do stuff for fan service. What if Vader's the one that kills Luthen?
Oh, that'd be fucked. That'd be awesome, though.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Give it to me.
Need to see it. If Luthen's like working on something in his workshop one night, the elevator door opens and there's a red glow. You hear the lightsaber and the breathing, and then it's just fucking credits. Like, and you know what happened there. Like, that'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
All right. What else do we got? We got a question from Skip. He says, which Pedro Pascal project are you most excited for? Gladiator 2, The Last of Us Season 2, or Fantastic Four?
Ooh.
Pretty easy one for me. I think Fantastic Four, even though Last of Us I loved, and I think Season 2 is going to be great as well. Fantastic Four just seems like it has a higher ceiling to me.
I say Fantastic Four is Tier 1. Last of Us is Tier 2, which is I love Last of Us Season 1. It was one of my favorite TV shows of like the last 5 years or so. But I just thought Fantastic Four needs to be a fucking banger from Marvel.
Yeah.
I think Gladiator 2 is going to be bad. I'm going in very low expectations. We talked about it last time.
People didn't like your Gladiator take from last week.
Oh, really? I'm getting canceled for it?
But I was with you with it. So, like, I'm in the foxhole with you.
What are they saying? They're saying it's going to be good?
They were saying Gladiator holds up so well. You said the first one didn't hold up very well.
I'll fucking die on that hill all day long. Are you serious? You guys watch all those fucking little politicians talk and be like, oh, this is just fun to watch. 245, Lucius the Kid.
Oh, they're going to be after you again.
Yeah, I'm coming. Bring it. Bring it. You know what they are? They're the fucking barbarians, and I'm fucking Maximus. Give me more of that.
There you go. Donnie was asking for our thoughts on the House of the Dragon drama. We kind of answered that. Did you guys ever finish Fallout on Amazon? If so, what were your thoughts? Nick asks. I actually didn't finish Fallout. I didn't, for no reason. Not like I didn't like it. I just watched the first episode and I fell off.
Yeah, I got, I think halfway through the season, it was like pretty violent at that point. It was like, when it's violent, I can't really watch it around the kids. And then, I think it's cursing, but whatever. It's an adult show. And at that point, I think I was watching a couple other things that are violent. I'm like, this is just too much for me right now. I just have too much just brain splattering. And then it didn't grip me. I know it's fucking good. I know it's going to end up being like, it would be an awesome end. I saw there was, I go on the meme meter. If there's a lot of memes, you know it's probably pretty good, right? Or pretty awful, one or the other. And it seemed very good, but because of that, it's like, we never got to it. And then we had, just a crazy run of stuff that we had to cover, right?
Yeah, we had so many TV shows at the same time. Mike Delahanty says, have either of you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Sneaky stacked cast and a quick nerd movie that I think fits the basement vibe well. Ashamed to say no, I haven't seen it.
Never seen it. I know when it was a book, it was like an awesome book.
Popular.
People were huge about it, so I always thought I would like it. I remember like doing a very high deep dive on what it's about and being like, whoa, I think that's too much for me. I've said this in the past, like comic books, when they go to the Celestials, it's just too much for my idiot brain to take in. And I think that kind of is the same thing. But I would, okay, what do we have here? Let's see. Hitchhiker's Guide. Let's see. Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see. 6.7 on IMDb.
What year did it come out?
2005.
Okay.
And again, I hate going to these review sites that I don't like, but 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, 65% with the popcorn meter.
Huge cult following, I know.
Yes.
And very like nerdy cult. I think our listener here is correct in that it's kind of like the Basement Boys vibe, I think, is the fan base here.
I will try to watch it one day. I don't know if it'll be anytime soon, but it is something. Alan Rickman's in it. Sold.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say.
Oh, sold. Boom, sold.
You just asked the question. Did you guys see Hitchhiker's Galaxy or whatever with Alan Rickman? Oh, okay. We're going to watch it right now. You know what? Let's just make this like a 3-hour pod. Let's just watch it.
Or we'll keep going. Yeah.
We'll do a live viewing.
Did I talk about getting into the Alien franchise in the last couple of weeks?
No, I know we touched on Romulus, or we were going to touch on Romulus. Are you going down the rabbit hole?
I'm going down the rabbit hole big time. I was never like an Alien fan, to be honest. I had seen the first movie. I think I saw the first movie when I was in high school. I was kind of bored by it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Or you know what? I probably saw it before high school. I was a little bored by it. And then I think I saw it maybe right after high school. Thought it was a little better. Watched it again recently. And again was like, I'm not like alien. I'm an alien guy, but I was like, all right.
I'm an alien guy.
Yeah, I was like, I like this. Like, it was the first time where I watched it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Then I watched 2. I never saw Aliens ever. James Cameron, our guy. And I was like, fuck it. This is one of those movies where I might have lied over the years and been like, yeah, I've seen that, because every nerd has to see Alien and Aliens. Clem, I got to be honest, I fucking loved it. I was like, oh my God, Aliens is great.
So I've never seen either of them because it scared the shit out of me. Whichever one where the alien comes out of the
2 is actually not very scary.
Well,
and it's one of the things that I didn't love about it.
And 2 is an action movie, right?
Yes. And I would have liked a little more horror in 2. Like, it goes straight action where the xenomorphs are just not scary anymore. Mm-hmm. But I also watched Prometheus, which is the prequel, which I thought was fucking great. I know it was controversial when it came out, but I was like really impressed. So those are the only 3 I've seen. And I've read so much about the lore in the last like couple weeks. I'm really diving deep, and I've read all about 3, and 3 and 4 sound horrible. I don't even know if I want to watch them. Eventually I probably will, but I've read all about them, and I read all about Covenant. And I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna see the new one. I'm becoming a Xenomorph guy.
I didn't know that they had misses in Aliens. I thought they were like
They had
3 for
misses,
3.
yeah. No, they had some misses. David Fincher came in with the third one, and people really didn't like it. It has like a cult following. Again, there are people that swear by it and love it, but I think it gets weird, and like Ripley goes to like a prison, and like there's some weird scenes, and she's giving birth to aliens and stuff, and I think it gets strange. But the new one's supposed to be great, and I want to see the new one really bad.
And that comes out soon?
It's been out for like a month, and it's got great reviews.
That's right. Yep, it was out recently. I remember Ken Jack saw it.
All right. Any other questions? We have Pizza Hutton says, if you and Clem could pick your own Star Wars storyline to follow in a show or movie, what would it be? Again, I can't claim to be the biggest like Knights of the Old Republic fan and like diehard fan for that, but that's always seemed really interesting to me. They had amazing commercials for the video game back in the day. The CGI was top notch, and I feel like you could make a whole movie out of that style CGI, and I'd love it. So I think Knights of the Old Republic, stuff we haven't seen though. Like, of course, I love the original trilogy as much as anybody, but either before prequels or after sequels. I mean, I guess we're getting after sequels soon with the Rey movie.
Yeah. Give me the Knights of Ren. Just tell me what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. Also, like, I love detective style stuff. I think I've said before on the podcast, I have the idea for this gritty Star Wars story where it's like years after the Clone Wars on a planet where there's no Jedi activity whatsoever. People start getting killed, and there's lightsaber wounds in them. And it's like, well, what the fuck is going on here? And it's just like a total detective story, not based on Jedi even. It could have Jedi, but you could just have like kind of like space cops trying to figure out what's going on. I feel like that'd be cool.
You could have like the Jedi, they go to the planet, they're trying to figure out what happened. And it's like these witches are there. Like
I knew where that was going.
And we see what happened. We're like, oh, there must be more to that. And then it's just, that's all there was, right?
Yeah. That was... if you were a Marvel movie, which one would you be? Says Andrew Snow. It's an interesting question.
Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk.
Clem, you would have to be a Guardians movie, just like the fun-loving energy of them and like the family vibe of them. I feel like you would have to be like Guardians 2. Right?
Guardians 2 was exactly what I would want to be. That's my choice if I could choose.
I feel like if I were it wouldn't be Cap's my guy, but it wouldn't be a Cap movie. Like I feel like that I don't match up with that very well. I'd probably be like Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know.
Definite Spider-Man. Yep. Choose your Spider-Man vibe or your Spider-Man movie. Boom. I think you nailed it. By the way, Fortnite, Cap's shield is in there. It's fucking badass.
I know you're using it as Thanos.
Sacrilege. That was messed up. That was messed up. But man, you get the War Machines. You get to use all his shit. Dr. Doom stuff is in the game. That you have all the Dr. Doom powers. Very cool for the people that still play Fortnite. All the kids, and then the dads who are with the kids. So highly recommend for people that want to live out their Marvel fantasies.
All right. I think that pretty much does it for this week. We've gone over an hour. I feel like I need to go take some more medicine because I'm getting stuffy again. Well, nap will come later. I got to do spinning back fist after this. So I got to restock on all the Mucinex and whatnot. But we will see you guys next week. Again, Secret Wars, go out and get it. Don't forget, Comic Book Club will go down September 26th. Very excited for that, along with Jose. And we'll talk to you next week.
Man, this art looks good. I'm very excited for this.